Howdy folks, hope you're all having a good one, and welcome back to World of Tanks with the mighty Jingles. And before we get started, I know what you're all thinking. That's a bit of a clickbaity title and thumbnail there, Jingles. We expected better of you, thought you were better than that. And yeah, I mean, it kind of is a clickbait title and thumbnail, but it also kind of isn't. Because believe me, this battle delivers. I'm not going to go so far as to say that this actually is the best game of tanks battle I have ever seen, because my memory's terrible, and I may have seen better games than this, I just cannot remember them. This is the best game I have seen anybody play in my living memory, let's just put it that way. And I am not exaggerating. And no, don't skip to the end and spoil it. What are you, the kind of savage who reads the last page of a book in case you die before you finish it? Behave yourselves. So, let's get the introductions out of the way. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the star of today's show, and I really mean that this time, is Spottier 2 here. We're going to call him Spotty, because why the hell not? In the Russian, or more accurately Soviet, Tier 8 heavy tank, the ISM. He's on the Pearl River map. He is top tier, and I think it's fair to say that this is a really strong tank when it's top tier. Not so much when it isn't. And it's only a really strong tank when it's top tier and it's fully upgraded, because this machine is quite possibly the worst tank in the game when it's stock. It's got bad mobility even when fully upgraded. It's worse when it's stock. When it's stock, it has no armor, a terrible gun. It is one of the most painful experiences you can have in World of Tanks. When upgraded, however, providing it is top tier, it is a side-scraping god with an almost but not quite impenetrable turret. Spotty, as surprised as I was there to see the T-56 penetrate him. He had a quick look. It kind of looked like the T-56 managed to overmatch his turret roof. I mean, that was a shot in a million. Anyway, can't afford to get distracted. In this machine, you ideally want a city map. Oh, nice little drive-by there. A city map, or a map like Pearl River, where there are a lot of rocks that you can side-scrape behind. The gun is pretty good. It's a Russian 122mm. The handling is actually not terrible on this thing, with the exception of the gun depression. Because of that rear-mounted turret, I mean, Russian tanks generally have bad gun depression anyway, but the frontal gun depression on this thing is horrifically bad. This tank is basically more or less completely incapable of taking advantage of go and hold down. I mean, it can, but then you can't shoot anything, because you don't have the gun depression. What you really need is flat ground like this, with things that you can side-scrape around, and that's exactly what he's doing. Meanwhile, both team scouts have died in the first minute of the match, so a fairly standard World of Tanks random battle. Slightly more depressingly, one of the best tanks on the team, the Progetto 46, just crashed himself to death off the side of a cliff, and is now in chat telling everybody that there are more on team and they should all go uninstall. That guy wins today's prize for the player with the least sense of irony or self-awareness whatsoever. Meanwhile, Spotty moves up, takes care of the Progetto 54. There's still a Tiger in that T-56 around here somewhere. There he is. Takes the shot on the tracks. Not a problem. The thing you have to bear in mind here is that Spotty and the ISM, the friendly Progetto 54 and the friendly T-56, are basically the only three tanks here against at least 6 enemies. Tiger 131 over there. Yeah, you can bounce shots in this thing, if angled, from a Tiger 131 all day, even if he is firing gold ammo. Kill number 2. Just the T-56 and the Tiger 1 over there. Can he get the reload in time? Oh, not quite. Ricocheted off the upper glacis. Oh well, never mind. It's time to close in. You now probably have the numbers advantage. I don't know how the hell that ricocheted, but it did. And now he needs to close in. Close in. That's it. Took the shot on the tracks, but he had to use the repair kit, otherwise that would have gone straight through the side. Now it's a game of hug each other's faces and see who can snipe each other's weak spots first. And honestly, the T-56 is at a bit of a disadvantage here, because his weak spots are bigger and easier to hit. You can see him trying to find the commander's cupola. And to give him credit, he does manage to get one shot in, but one shot is all he's going to get. Here comes the Tiger 1. And, yeah, ding. And it's going to take 2 shots, but yeah. Tiger 1 basically having the same problem as the T-56 was. And, oh dear, you don't want to be doing that. Yeah. Okay, well, anyway, so this flank won. Let's not get too carried away, however, because basically everybody else on the team, with the exception of the artillery and a T-25-2, is dead. So, well, okay, the Progetto 54 as well. So, to the rescue of the Progetto 54. A couple of easy one-shot kills here on the Tiger P. Boom, headshot, on the move, impressive, kill number 5. And by the time he gets a shot at the M6, he should have reloaded. And he'll have a nice easy shot at the rear. And there's the Top Gun. So, things aren't looking quite as bad as they were just a minute ago. Still not looking good though. They've lost the T-25-2. If artillery doesn't get its ass out of there, they're going to lose their artillery soon as well. And artillery really should be getting its ass out of there because they have an M54 and a Bert the Avenger. M54? An M44, sorry. And a Bert the Avenger. 2 of the fastest artillery in the game that aren't French. And they've left it a little bit too late. I mean, I can't see what the situation is over there. Maybe there was nothing they could do. But the M44's down. They're probably about to lose Bert the Avenger as well, who is standing and fighting. I can't help but feel that that is a very bad decision. Manages to hit but not kill the KV-13, which seals the fate of the FV-304, which means they're about to be the last 2 surviving tanks on their team against 6 enemies, and for a fraction of a second they were, but then the Progetto 54 managed to clinch a kill against the VK-3002D, so now they're the last 2 surviving tanks on their team against 5 enemies, and those are still pretty terrible odds. And unless the Progetto can get his ass out of there, the odds are about to get worse. And he can't. And for a fraction of a second, Spotty is the last surviving tank on his team against 5 enemies, and then he nails the KV-15. So there is now a potential Kolobanov's medal up for grabs. Be the last tank left alive on your team against 5 enemies and win. He just has to win. And he's suffering the death of 1,000 cuts here due to being constantly spotted and just nickel and dime to death by the artillery, and now the Easy 8, who's pumping high explosive shells into it, which honestly is probably all the Easy 8 can actually do, shooting at the front of an ISM. And Spotty knows he can't just sit there taking high explosive hit after high explosive hit. He has to close in and endure further high explosive hits while he eliminates the 2 machines spotting him for the artillery, starting with the AT-15. And he's got a problem here because, well, fortunately the Easy 8 was still had the high explosive loaded, otherwise he could have easily pumped one through his lower glacis, as he was extremely vulnerable coming over that hill. He switched to the AP now, of course, but he needs side shots to make that work. Spotty kills him. Here comes the AT-15. Well, technically the AT-15A, it's a tier 7. Strong frontal armour though, and he's had his tracks blown off, and he's just getting hit over and over and over by the artillery. The AT-15A really should just be trying... I mean, it's the last tank left alive on the team. If you can kill him, you win. But under the circumstances, he'd do far better just staying alive and keeping him spotted for the artillery. And I think he may have been trying to do that, but Spotty gets him too. And that's kill number 9. There's the Radley Walters medal. 1 more for the Pools medal with 10 kills. 2 more for the win. Unfortunately, well, good news, bad news situation. It's... oh wow. I was about to say it's an M44 and an FV-304. Those are 2 extremely fast artillery, and if they don't want to get spotted, they shouldn't get spotted. But it looks like the M44 is getting a bit adventurous. It may be that the artillery are working together, the plan being for one of them to spot for the other one, but that would suggest a level of cooperation and coordination that's usually way too advanced for your typical random battle teammate. Although you never know, I've seen stranger things happen. It is going to be extremely risky for the one doing the spotting, of course, particularly around blind corners like this, where you might see him coming, but you may not survive the experience. Let's find out. He knows the M44's around here somewhere. He might just be running for the cap, although he is close enough to the cap to be able to stop him if that's his plan. That would, however, be a smarter plan than what the M44 is actually doing. Oh, it's the FV304, my bad. And he doesn't even take the shot. Oh well, fine, you know. More stupid enemies like that, please. So there's the Pools medal, 10 kills. And that just leaves the M44. Here's the problem, though. I mean, relying on the enemy to be idiots can often be a winning strategy in World of Tanks, but when you're 10 kills up, you've got a Pools medal, there's a potential Kolobanov's medal on the table. Relying on the enemy to be stupid is not really a strategy you can afford to use. You have to assume that they're not a complete idiot and play accordingly. And the dead friendly artillery, the M44, is advising him to go for the cap. Ironically enough, his name is Brave Sir Robin. And he did not bravely run away, and that's why he's dead. But anyway, yes, go for the cap. So, yeah, I mean, it's usually a good tactic. If you're the last tank left alive on your team, but you're in something big and slow and obvious, with bad view range and horrible stealth, and you're trying to chase down and kill something that is small, fast, and very stealthy, driving around the map hoping you find them is often the worst thing that you can do. And it's better to just go and sit in their cap circle, and then you force them to make a choice. Come and fight you, and possibly lose, or don't come and fight you, and definitely lose. Oh, there's... doesn't have the shot. Oh. Didn't get spotted. That's surprising. It's not often a Russian heavy tank outspots anything. But even though he didn't get spotted, the M44 has to know roughly where he is and which direction he's going, because the M44 certainly knows that he got spotted. So, yeah. Here's the problem with going for the cap, however. I mean, he probably still has enough time to do it. But if the M44 saw him over here, even though he didn't actually see him, but he knows that he got spotted from over here, he probably knows that Spotty is heading for the cap circle. And the M44 is absolutely fast enough to make it to his cap circle before Spotty makes it to the M44's. And this is not a fast tank. So the M44 will win if he's heading for the cap, because he can get there first. And there is no way Spotty is going to be fast enough to be able to get back and defend and do anything about it. So if Spotty actually makes it into that cap circle ahead of the M44, we know we're dealing with somebody who does not have a strong grasp on the tactical realities of the situation. And with 2 minutes to go, he has made it to the cap circle ahead of the M44. And he should be able to win by capping with about 20 seconds to spare, unless he gets reset. Now, the best possible outcome here would be to suddenly see that the M44 has started capping Spotty's base, in which case we are guaranteed a win, because the M44 can't reset him across the map, it's a short-ranged artillery, and Spotty started capping first. He has enough health that even if the M44 does start randomly blind firing into the cap circle and hits him, the M44 is probably not going to be able to kill him. But what it could do is reset the cap and force a draw, which would be a real shitty way to lose a match with more than 5,000 damage done and 10 kills under your belt. But hey, if you can't take a joke, you shouldn't be playing World of Tanks. The thing is, it doesn't have to be a blind fire shot. There's plenty of concealment available for the M44 to use, in combination with his superior stealth, to spot Spotty at the last second and get that cap reset shot off without being spotted in return. And yet, nobody's spotting him. Oh, he blind fired. And Spotty saw where the shot came from. No, wait for it. Wait for it. 15 seconds to go before you win. That's not enough time for the M44 to reload and take another shot and maybe get lucky. So take the win. Don't go chasing that 11th kill and risk throwing it away. Just a few more seconds and you've got the... There's the win. There's the second shot. Confirms that the M44 is still in the same location, and there is the 11th and final kill after the game had ended, but it still counts. Who says you can't have everything? Spotty gets to win by capping to 100 and gets the final kill, getting himself 11 kills with the Pools medal, the Pascucci's medal, the Kolobanov's medal, Top Gun, Steel Wall, Invader and High Caliber medals, along with nearly 2,000 base experience in what has to be maybe not the best game I've ever seen played, but it's certainly the best game I can remember seeing anybody play. Holy shit, Spotty, you're just showing off now, aren't you? That was amazing. Extremely well done. I hope everybody else enjoyed it, because that is it for today. As always, take care, stay safe, and I'll catch you next time.